And so I would still be pretty hopeful about that. You never know in transfers, but the last time I had serious conversations with people who were basically involved in it, that was how it was explained to me. And I hear basically the same from Germany, and I hear basically the same from the player side as well. All of what I'm saying is sort of all from all three sides. It's not just like, let's say, the club, the buying or selling club or Sancho. It's all three sides. So.
The great Man United teams had genuine competition for places. And with all due respect to Paul Pogba, right now, he walks into that team every day of the week.
You're completely right. And, if you're going to be a serious proposition, you really need to have, for every position, it sounds obvious, but, United don't have it, but that's what he's trying to do. You need to have more players than is possible to get into the team for each position, like City have, like Liverpool have. I could go through other sides. You need to have surplus and competition, and it'd be interesting to see how this goes. So I like the fact that actually, because you could make an argument, if you're going to prioritise signings, is the central midfield a priority? If there's only going to be one or two, signings this summer, well, you'd probably say no. I would say centre back, and then I'd even look at a forward. But I think what's going on is he's not too sure what's going to happen with Sancho. So what he's doing is saying, right, well, who can I get who I like, and I think it's going to make us better? Yeah. And this player obviously Van der Beek fits into that, and then let's see if Sancho, because I think that's still on Sancho. And what it also says to me is that it says to me that they're after free players and they've got the money for it, because this guy's coming in. Sancho hasn't died as far as I know, so there's a take your pick, 90, 100 million, and then there's a centre back position. So that's actually, if you look at it that way, what this I think signals, it means free. They're after free signings, and those free signings, I'm not saying it's going to make you an amazing team, but you suddenly be a heck of a lot better, because that centre back position for me is kind of the weakest link in your team at the moment.
You've mentioned there's Sancho. Now I know a lot of Man United fans no one understands what's going on. It's been very, very quiet for 2 or 3 weeks. You've already said that you don't think that deal's dead. What, in your opinion, do you think is going on, and when do you believe there'll be movement around Jadon Sancho?
I think there's a bit of a standoff over the price. I think the thing that's good to remember, if you're a United fan or any fan of great footballers coming to our league, is that all three parties kind of want this deal to happen. So, there's a very good chance it's going to happen. That's obviously the two clubs and the player, which is very important. Obviously, the player, almost the number one of importance. So I think that's a good sign. I think there's a standoff over the price. It has been characterised to me as being similar. This is from some people who would know about the deal as the Fernandes thing in January. That deal that took a bit of time. Where are you going to get him? Oh dear, why don't you just pay out the extra whatever? And so I would still be pretty hopeful about that. You never know in transfers, but the last time I had serious conversations with people who were basically involved in it, that was how it was explained to me. And I hear basically the same from Germany, and I hear basically the same from the player side as well. All of what I'm saying is sort of all from all three sides. It's not just, like, let's say, the club, the buying or selling club or Sancho. It's all three sides. So that's all, in my job, that's all I can do really and the reason why I haven't necessarily done a fresh story on it is because that situation, or this situation, has kind of been the same. So that, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or however long it is, there's nothing really new to report. But what happens, of course, is it does become a sort of slightly fresh piece of information if there's been a gap, no reporting on it, and because people want to know, does that mean it's dead? And then if you then say, well, actually, no, it's not dead, that is actually still refreshing it. You understand what I mean? It's not enough information to go to do a story necessarily, but it is still people. Obviously, you need to know if it's stalled permanently. So again, I like what he's doing with him, because I think he's looking at his forwards. He's thinking, I want more goals. Look at City, look at Liverpool. We need to score more. We need to be a goal machine, and we need to have competition. He was obviously a player, Solskjaer, who was always one of 4 strikers for 2. Sometimes he'd get in, more often than not he wouldn't. But there was that competition, and you knew also it was competition between 4, players who were prolific. Really, they were good. It wasn't just like, there's 2 of them are brilliant and the other 2 are okay. All 4 of them, including Sheringham, York, and Cole. Obviously, they were 3. They're all brilliant goal scorers, and so with Sancho, it's interesting because what that says to me, if he comes, is I actually look at that form. I think it's Rashford who might be the one initially. He might take Greenwood out at first because he's the youngest. It's not the easiest thing to do, but you can see the case for that. But I just wonder about Rashford because I'm reading between the lines a little bit here, but I think he thinks Rashford is a brilliant player, brilliant personality, but he maybe misses too many.